I'm sorry, folks. My boo-boo, the hound, wanted water. And not only did she want water, she wanted it out of her own cup. In other words, she wanted me to pour it into a cup and let her drink it. Yes, I have her spoiled, but they're all spoiled. Anyway, we started, me and my second ex started growing apart. Oh. And it just, I went to college. I was determined to make my way. Sorry. I was determined to make my life better. And he was content to stay right where he was in a $10 an hour job, 40 hours a week, and didn't care if his life ever got made better or not. I graduated with my bachelor's degree. Yeah. When I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I got on with Norfolk and Southern Railroad, the best employer in Roanoke, Virginia at the time, making the best pay in Roanoke, Virginia at the time. And one day we were in the kitchen in our house, and he said to me, "What can I give you that you can't give yourself?" I looked at him and I said, "You. What difference does it make who makes more money? You are what I want, not gifts, I just want you." Well, that wasn't enough, I guess, because we got to where we argued more and more and more. And I went to school for my master's degree. And I did all of that online. But the damage was already done. For 5 years, because I took time off sometimes, I was in class 4 nights a week, working full time. So basically I was never home, and it was more than he could handle. And, he's a good man. He really is a good man. We just grew apart. So we separated, but we stayed in the same house. I slept in a bedroom downstairs. He slept in a bedroom upstairs. And we knew the house was going to be foreclosed on. And I told him, I said, "I can stop it if you want me to stop it." Because somehow or another, I had the money to stop it. And he said, "No, just let it happen." And I'm not understanding why it happened. And it only hurt his credit, not mine, but that's not really the point. I mean, that was during all the housing market crisis, where they had all these places that were going to help people keep their houses. And I contacted them all. Never heard anything from anybody until we had already moved out of the house. And at that point, we got contacted saying, "Well, we're going to help you save your house." Well, you're too late. I moved in with my sister, and then I got my own place. Okay, so here is a little fill-in, I guess. When my nieces, my sister's girls, were really small, like 4 and 6, they thought my dad hung the moon. They did. They thought there was nothing like my dad. And my dad loved having those girls around. And I will never know what happened. I know what he told me, but my sister denies it, so I don't know what happened. I have no clue. I just know that for whatever reason, my sister stopped the girls from having anything to do with my dad. Nothing. They were allowed nowhere near him. They just weren't allowed around him. She cut all ties with my dad. She got to the point where my dad didn't have a phone number or anything. Didn't have a way to contact her at all. And my brother did the same thing. They never contacted him. They never talked to him. They never wanted to talk to him. So the girls grew up, and, over time, little kids, they forget. So they grew up not wanting to have anything to do with Dad, because that's what they were used to. And then when I moved from Tennessee to Virginia, that's how far, just, yeah, I didn't do this in order. But when I moved from Tennessee to Virginia, that was the first time I ever heard my sister refer to our family in West Virginia, my mom, my dad, everybody but my brother, as those people. They're your family. Whether you want to admit it or not, they're your family. You love them. You just ashamed of them. And if you're that ashamed of them, just don't ever go around them. And that's what she does. I don't know why I said that, because she don't go around them. Once in a while, maybe once a year, she goes to see my mom, but she's only there 5 or 10 minutes and she's gone. And it's usually after Christmas, when Mom has all the presents for everybody, she'll come and give Mom a present, and then she'll leave. She won't be there no time. Okay, so when I was in college for my master's degree, and I don't remember if I said it, but it was all online. My dad died. I was devastated. I was, I don't know why, but for weeks leading up to it, I could just feel there was something wrong. He was sleeping all the time. He literally could not stay awake. He just couldn't. So I just, my ex wanted to go to a theme park. So I guess we went to Six Flags. And I really didn't want to go to Six Flags. I really wanted to go see my dad. But I wanted him to be happy because, things were not good with us. And, but I went to Six Flags in Williamsburg instead of going to see my dad. But the following weekend I went to see him, and I finally got the girls to go see him and my sister to go see him. Everybody went to see him the last 2 or 3 times he was alive. And then one day I couldn't find him. Usually when I can't find him, he's in the psychiatric hospital. So I called over to the hospital, and they said he wasn't there. So I called the people I called his landlords and asked them to go check on him. And they called me and told me they found him dead in his apartment. He left the hospital AMA, which he does all the time. And he got home. And sometime after that, he died. And okay. That's enough about that. So after all of that, and after I graduated with my master's, my grandmother was in the hospital, and we knew she was dying. And I took off work from the railroad, and I went out there, and I was out there basically 2 weeks. And they understood. They were very patient. They let me, I didn't have the time to cover it, and I had a short paycheck. That's it. And I was fine with that. But while all this was going on, Derek came out there. Oh, my sister didn't come out there. My sister lived 2 hours away, and my brother was right there in town, and neither one of them showed up. My brother showed up in the beginning when she was still alert and could speak. But as the days progressed and her lungs slowly filled with fluid and she just wouldn't talk anymore, nobody showed up. My sister never did show up until I finally called her and said, look, I'm exhausted. I need a break. You have to come out here. You have to. So they came out there, and it was me, her, my mom, and Derek. And we all went to breakfast, and we were all trying to laugh and have a good time, as good as we could. We got back, we went to dinner. We got back to the hotel, and Derek wanted to have sex, and I pretended to be asleep. Not doing it. So the next day, he was making fun of my family. And I don't know how it happened. He was making fun of them. I was done. And I looked at him and I said, you don't love me and I don't love you, and I think we should just get a divorce. And he didn't say anything. I said, just go on back. When this is over, I'll be back and we'll go from there. He left. I was happy he left. After Grandma died and everything was done, I went home and I said, do you want to get counseling or do you just want to get a divorce? He said, just leave it as it is and we'll get a divorce. Okay, fine. I'm fine with that. Perfectly fine. Jump ahead a long ways. Sometime in January of 2015, there was a spur of the moment town hall meeting at the railroad. So I'd been there 7 years already. And their statement was, move to Atlanta or not have a job. I moved to Atlanta. 5 years later, I didn't have a job. 3 months? No. Yeah. January 24th, 2:30 in the afternoon of 2020 was when I was furloughed. I'll never forget it. March 2nd of the same year was my first cancer diagnosis. And y'all have heard all the rest of it. Sorry about the fingers and the wobbliness. This will probably be 2 separate videos.